What's going on, everybody? Thank you all so much for tuning in to this very important segment of Mikasa Sukasa, and I'm your host, Niko House. I just got sent a video that I honestly wish I didn't see. It's a clip by the Young Turks where they proceed to lambast Diamond and Silk. Now, as a progressive, Diamond and Silk get on my nerves. I'm not going to lie. And apparently, they're from a place that I hail from, Fayetteville, North Carolina. But just because you don't like the fact that somebody is Republican, just because you don't like the fact that somebody supports Donald Trump, hell, you may not even like the fact that somebody appears to be ignorant, that does not give you an all-access pass to simply lie because you feel like it, and it suits your agenda to revel in your delusions of grandeur. And it makes me a little uneasy that all this information is so readily accessible, that you have a whole research team and, $20 million that you raised from a top Clinton donor, and then $2 million that you supposedly raised to bring on new investigative journalists like Jordan Sheraton. Hope you don't bring any that are like him. But you have all this money and all these teams and all this time to research, and you can't even do your most basic levels of research to find out the truth. But hey, I'm going to go ahead and run this first clip, and then we'll go ahead and respond.
Promise it, we're delivering it. It's Diamond and Silk. Who are Diamond and Silk? Well, they are two women who, here they are, they have a popular Facebook page. They're Trump supporters, and they were actually on like the FEC declaration as being paid by the Trump campaign in 2016 as for field consulting services. A while back, a little while ago, they told people that they had been notified by Facebook that they were posting content that was, quote, unsafe to the community. Facebook apologized to them and said it was an error that they delivered this message in the first place. Diamond and Silk said that they have not communicated with Facebook since then, and they're very upset. And they're doing all these interviews on Fox shows talking about how they've been censored by Facebook. Facebook is like, no, we've reached out to you. To prove that, this is my favorite way they reach out. They found a Laura Ingraham tweet even, where she said, joining us next, Diamond and Silk, to discuss Mark Zuckerberg's testimony before Congress today. Facebook responds to this tweet even, saying, like, thank you for bringing this up. On Monday, we emailed Diamond and Silk twice. On Tuesday, we called and we commented on their Facebook post. We shared this comment. And then they post the screen cap of their comment being like, no. We are reaching out to these people. They post the receipts of the Facebook message to them. It's pretty amazing.
So obviously there's a few parts to dissect from that first clip. First of all, Facebook responded to Diamond and Silk regularly. So yeah, they are right about that. Here's the issue with that. Facebook doesn't respond and hasn't responded to myself, and I'm not that important. They don't respond and have not responded to Lee Camp, who is much more popular than I am on all platforms and avenues. Tim Black has also been censored. Both of those two, Lee Camp and Tim Black, were getting, and I am not exaggerating, millions of views. Now, granted, let's just say that people have just decided to stop paying attention to politics. Okay, cool. So maybe the traffic drops a little bit. But in Tim Black's case, traffic dropping almost, I'm not exaggerating, you're probably talking about close to 98% of his traffic drop. For Lee Camp, he went from averaging 5,000 followers a week to maybe 500 a month. And then every time he gets followers, just like the rest of us, they drop, they leave, they randomly disappear. And I myself can personally attest to Facebook actually deleting my friends, or at least forcing them to unlike my page, but they would still be following my page. And these are my personal friends, which is the only way that I was able to catch it. So why would Facebook choose to reach out to them? Well, I think it's common sense that probably because Diamond and Silk are connected to Trump and therefore connected deeply to the Republican Party. And they were, enough that whenever Zuckerberg was called to the stand, Ted Cruz cited this incident. And that's why they cared. They even went out of their way to tweet under Laura Ingraham, as they pointed out. That's called saving face. But the reason, however, that they were demonetized is because Facebook said that they were particularly dangerous, people. But I have a question. Has the Young Turks ever been censored for being particularly dangerous, considering they have been pandering to their establishment left audience and their neoliberal audience, talking about the Russia hoax, the conspiracy theory that has not only been unproven, it has been disproven time and time again by many of your own journalists, TYT. Jimmy Dore, Kyle Kalinske, the Humanist with Mike Figueredo. It's been disproven. But yet, your dangerous pandering rhetoric has created this xenophobic air to the entire political atmosphere. And if Russians were white, we could say it's racism, but it's not racism. You use the term Russia like people from Alabama use the term, or use the N-word, based off of nothing but establishment media, the same establishment media that you came to fight. Now, Think Progress did some digging into their traffic. We're going to talk about where Think Progress came from, but let's talk about the fact that did some digging into their traffic and that was just simply good enough for you. Let's just say that all the numbers that you all quoted were true. Let's just assume that. How the hell does Think Progress just do some digging? Who authorized that? Because if Think Progress is doing digging into their traffic, into Diamond and Silk's traffic specifically, does that once again let us know, because this came out on April 13th, so I'm assuming that study was done way before. But that lets us know that Zuckerberg once again was giving our data out after he tried to apologize for doing so, and then giving it once again to a neoliberal organization who fabricates information all the time. But that's going to come up later on as well. So let's go into the next clip.
And I'd like to apologize to you guys because despite the fact that I did a lengthy rant about that on that day, and I'm totally vindicated by the numbers here on the overwhelming substance of it, but I did make a mistake in the beginning because they had said it so fervently as if it was fact. We said on the air briefly that their page was taken down.
Right.
Their page wasn't taken down. That was a lie. Never make the mistake of believing a Republican. Never make that mistake. Okay, so Ted Cruz came in there. It seemed like you just heard Brett read the quote. Seems so authoritative, and this proves a pattern of bias against conservatives, etc. As if they had done all this research and homework and etc. Their page was never taken down. None of their posts were ever taken down. So censorship is totally nonsense. The only part that's true is that it was demonetized for a while, which, as Anna and I explained, that happens all the time. And so in this case, Facebook came back and said it was a mistake, and then sends them that notice. They then lie that Facebook didn't send them the notice, even though it's public, it's obvious, it's everywhere. And they're like, no, this whole thing started on a lie. Why would we start telling the truth now? And so the whole idea that they then complained, our traffic went down in January. Facebook changed their policy in January that they're going to emphasize friends and family and not publishers. Everybody's traffic went down in January. Everyone's.
Except for theirs, actually, because they were complaining about it so much that it actually drove more traffic toward their content.
That's right, and that's ironic, etc. We'll get to those numbers in a second. But and what did I say on that first day of the Zuckerberg hearings when they hijacked it with this Diamond and Silk nonsense? I said, you're eventually going to find out that not only is it not true that Facebook or any of these social media guys discriminate against conservatives, just like the IRS story where they're like, oh my God, the IRS is going after conservative groups. You'll find out at the end, just like in that IRS story, that they actually brought down liberal pages even more. And you look at the numbers, that's exactly what happened. And by the way, it's not because Facebook hates liberals, right? Those are all, it's a complicated matrix. It's literally a complicated algorithm of things that go into what affects your Facebook page. But liberals and others treat it rationally. And they go, they made an algorithm change. You have to adjust, and this happened and that happened. And conservatives go in and they go, hey, all you lying, two-faced politicians that represent us go lie on our behalf. And Ted Cruz and Joe Barton and all of them come out and go, oh my God, we're victims, we're victims. Look, and what does Facebook do? They go, no. Conservatives, how can we help you? How can we help you, conservatives? So, hey, wake up, Democrats, wake up, progressives, and mainstream media most of all. Never believe a Republican. They're almost always lying. Stop calling it even. It's not even. Look at the actual facts. Do your goddamn job and look at the facts before you go spreading their nonsense propaganda. Great job by BuzzFeed and Think Progress that actually did that in this case.
All right, Cenk. First of all, your claim that Republicans and Democrats are not even. They always lie. Republicans are Republicans are the ones that always lie. Republicans and Democrats are not even. Yet, I covered a story that you absolutely refuse to. Unless I'm mistaken, but I didn't see you cover it. In fact, it wasn't talked about after that day at all outside of myself. The United States House of Representatives killed a bill to stop Saudi Arabia from committing genocide in Yemen. That wasn't just the Republicans, nor was it just the Democrats. Both of the sides killed it. But they're different. Only Republicans lie, though. They're not even. Yeah, there are even. And just like there are some good Democrats, there are also some good Republicans. And I'm a progressive. Instinctually, I don't even like Republicans, instinctually. And I've had to take myself out of that duopolist mindset. However, I'm a progressive, and I can admit this because I actually apparently have the experience that you don't. I was just in New England talking to and interacting with and listening to a sheriff speaking in front of a super ultra rich, okay? Half Republicans, where they were cheering on the idea of, or the passing of a legislation in Massachusetts that was going to significantly reduce crime and change the focus to keeping people out of jail. In fact, one even went on to say, that works in the sheriff's department, he even went on to say, I want this to put me out of my job. That is my goal, to make sure I don't have a job anymore. Those are Republicans. Meanwhile, how well are the Democrats invested in the military-industrial complex? Well, you can go ahead and ask Kamala Harris. She knows all about that. Or, your friend Hillary Clinton, since her confidants have no problem giving you all their money. But it's just because we're that good. Of course. The only thing that happened was that they demonetized them for a little while, people. That was it. Demonetization is a form of censorship. Do I have to break this down for you? I can go ahead and do so. If you would like, matter of fact, because I don't want any excuses, because Cenk is probably going to see this and try to complain about it. Okay, so not everybody gets $20 million because we like to stay independent. I know that Dom and Silk at one point were paid by Trump's campaign, but for all we know, let's just assume that they don't get paid by them anymore because I've never seen it, or by him anymore because I've never seen it posted anywhere. Now, if they were demonetized, and this has now become their personal and preferential form of income, maybe they want to use their voice and elevate the situation because they did release a video where they said some truthful things as far as the James Comey's case was concerned. The James Comey that you swore to God that Trump was just an evil, diabolical man who, I can't believe he would do such a thing. How could he fire him? Because he deserved it, apparently. How could he do this to McCabe? He's trying to hide what's going on with Russia. No, he's trying to hold him accountable for his hundreds of thousands of dollars of wrapped up conflict of interest and the fact that he, was involved in trying to hide the Clinton Foundation investigation. Or did you not read that OIG report? But that's a different discussion for a different day. So, if you cannot monetize yourself, not because of your following, not because of your audience, not because of something that you're doing, but simply because Facebook has arbitrarily decided to disrupt your form of business, violating no guidelines of their own, that means that now I have to account in my budget every single time that Facebook or YouTube, for example, is going to demonetize me. Every single time now. I have to do that every time. I have to plan around that. And the only thing Facebook does is say, sorry, my bad, didn't mean to. But they don't chase us down. Hell no. And then for Facebook specifically, Cenk said, oh, it happens to everybody all the time, which lets you know how large of a bubble Cenk lives in. When we're speaking about Facebook, Facebook Watch is specific to a particularly large audience that you had to accumulate before the election. Because if you didn't get it before the election, oh, they're censoring your ass. You're not growing. You're not growing. We have to fight for every like, every follow, just to have Facebook arbitrarily force people to unfollow our pages. The difference in, like, I have like a 900, it's like between 700 and 900 difference between my likes on my page and my follows, which makes absolutely no sense. Now, that shows how much of a bubble it is that Cenk lives in, assuming that everybody has their traffic. Yeah, it's true. Republicans are targeted, but don't pretend like liberals are targeted the same way we are, because Vice isn't targeted like we are. Vox isn't targeted like we are. Let's be very clear. CNN isn't targeted like that. They get preferential treatment. We are not targeted. Excuse me. They are not targeted. The progressives, or better yet, anybody, right or left, who refuses to pander the establishment narrative is targeted. That's who's targeted. So let's be very clear about that. You wouldn't know because you refuse to deviate off the very careful path that 20 million has dictated for you. Either that or you're an idiot, because all the facts are out there. You just refuse to look at them. It's funny because Facebook said that Diamond and Silk are dangerous, and that's why they got demonetized. And they apologized for it. But what in the hell kind of algorithm would determine their rhetoric as anything but just, kind of ignorant sometimes? It's funny though. Nobody really takes them seriously. Nobody's voting for Trump because of Diamond and Silk. But your rhetoric, which has literally put us on the path, literally, I'm not exaggerating, you've put us on a clear path to World War III. You've splintered the progressive movement because you've taken people like Jimmy Dore and silenced them. And now some people don't trust him. A lot of people don't trust you all. And now we have to spend time combating narratives, realigning narratives, and fixing all the lies that you help perpetuate, so we can't get our jobs done. And so for someone who claims they want Trump out of office, while we're trying to put progressives in office, you are the cause of him remaining there when it eventually does happen, in case a good progressive does not step up in 2020, or because we can't get ourselves out there because you have helped perpetuate the censorship that you supposedly believe doesn't exist. Jimmy Dore has had his traffic slowed across all platforms. The Humanist Report has had his traffic slowed on all. Mike Figueredo, he's had his traffic slowed across all platforms. Kyle Kulinski has had his traffic slowed across all platforms. But like I said, Tim Black, same thing. Lee Camp, same thing. The only difference is those three are on your network. So now you're going to say that all the people who have large audiences on your network are also lying? Come on. And Lee was getting more views. Millions and millions. Could it have anything to do with he's on RT? Probably, a little bit. But that's part of it. Let's be very clear. The reality of the situation is it's because he doesn't pander the establishment narrative. Now, finally, let's watch this clip by Anna. This is my favorite one.
Big part, Chris, that actually did that in this case.
I just wanted to make a point about how, those on the right love to point their fingers at people who are living in poverty, people who might need some government assistance, and they love referring to them as people who play the victim, right? They're living in perpetual victimhood. And then as soon as anything happens that they don't understand, like algorithms or how Facebook works, they immediately misinterpret things as, I'm being targeted, I'm a victim, right? And so I can't decide whether or not this is an intentional thing that they're doing because it actually does give them headlines. It does give them the type of attention that they're seeking. It does drive more traffic to what they're doing. Like the whole Ben Shapiro and Coulter speaking at Berkeley thing. They don't care about free speech. They've never cared about free speech. Ben Shapiro is not a free speech guy because there have been multiple instances of stories where people's actual free speech is being violated, and I haven't heard a word from him, right? But when it comes to that Berkeley thing, what did it do? It elevated his profile a little bit, gave him a little bit more attention, and Coulter noticed it, got a little jelly, did the same thing. And I'm seeing this happening with other members of the right. This whole Diamond and Silk thing, you know, people on YouTube, conservatives specifically arguing that they're being, censored. You're not being censored, bro. And by the way, no one is entitled to monetization. No one is entitled to anything when it comes to these companies and the decisions that they make. No one. There's no constitutional protection that prevents you from being censored on any of these platforms. And by the way, there hasn't been any censorship at all. And they act like there's like a group of these left-leaning Facebook employees that are like, Diamond and Silk, we don't like them. No, it's an algorithm. People don't know how anything works anymore, and It drives me crazy.
It does feel like...
Anna claims people that we just don't understand algorithms. That Republicans and progressives, we just don't understand the algorithms as well as she does. I want to show y'all a picture. You see what that just says? This literally says, we're going to censor news that we feel is dangerous. It literally says this. That is called censorship. That is called censorship. They arbitrarily pick and choose which rhetoric is and is not dangerous, which news is and is not factual, when it's been proven, especially given the news that we found out about McCabe and the conflict of interest that we have been talking about for literally years at this point, especially when it comes to Uranium One, which supposedly has been debunked, of course. Yeah, except for it wasn't. People are being indicted as we speak and have been indicted. Oh, especially in regards to like the Clinton Foundation, for example, which Google actually actively worked with the Clinton campaign to make sure didn't look as bad as it actually was. And just like we found out in the OIG report, turned out, what a coincidence. They were actually being investigated during the damn campaign. And they actually suppressed that and only focused on the Clinton email scandal, despite knowing that the Clinton Foundation scandal was also being investigated. But I'm sure, hey, Anna has all the answers to the algorithms. They literally said that they're censoring people. But let's just do a very simple analysis of an algorithm. So if you have a simple algorithm, it will go something like most popular videos, most recent videos, and then everything else. Even if we go one step further, we can go to verified accounts. But the way Facebook is telling us they're setting up their algorithm is that they're giving preferential treatment. And of course, you all don't feel the preferential treatment because it's clear you have a deal set up with Facebook. You get promoted all the time. You get millions of views when supposedly all the numbers for everybody have dropped. Oh my God. Yeah, dropped and have fell off the face of the earth are two totally different things. I wonder how often you've been blocked from sharing your videos onto your own groups, into your own page. Arbitrarily with no explanation. Hell, at least Diamond and Silk got explanations. They must be much more important than we are. We've been blocked from our own pages. That is ruining and interrupting our business. And when you try to make the BS claim, no one is entitled to monetization. Oh, we're going to talk about that. But the way algorithms work is that sometimes you have very simple algorithms and other times you have very complex algorithms. Facebook has a very complex algorithms. Obviously, you got the ad revenue, you got ad money and ads and people who pay, and then just just straight up partnerships. And now they have Facebook Watch. But guess who got chosen for Facebook Watch? The people that they chose, randomly, that met this invisible criteria that nobody had the option to get, but I'm sure you all did. Which is why you probably don't get the censorship. Because advertisers are okay with advertising on your channel. Because you're establishment. And they don't have to worry about you saying something that could damage their business. But not like legitimately damage it, but you know, if you talk like about Nestle, for example, or Saudi Arabia, for example, or the fallacious news that's been perpetuated about Syria and Assad, for example, that would be a little bit damaging to their overall brand in the future. And then people would, you know, would be able to catch on to their nonsense. They're like, hold on, let me start looking some stuff up. Hold on, this person is connected to this. Let's not shop with them. They don't want that. So you get preferential treatment. And by its very definition, if you're getting preferential treatment in the algorithm, that usually means, people, somebody else is going to get pushed down. Because they want you to be seen because you are partnered with them. That's why in YouTube, they have YouTube partner programs, which you are also a part of. You are one of the networks that YouTube works with. And for someone who claims they have never been hurt by censorship, nobody is being censored. Y'all were complaining about it on YouTube. Did you forget that whole thing that happened? People on your network, once again, The Humanist, Mike Figueredo, Jimmy Dore, Kyle Kulinski, they have all discussed this. But hey, nobody gets censored though. But for Anna to claim that nobody's entitled to monetization, you are correct. In fact, YouTube, Facebook, and other platforms make it perfectly clear that nobody is entitled to it. However, once you meet this particular set of criteria and you do not break these particular set of rules, then you, as a sole proprietor or a corporation or an LLC, whatever you call yourself, as long as you fall within that window, which they make very explicitly clear in their bylaws, in their community guidelines. Once you get in that window, then as long as you don't break that, you're good to go. Last time I checked, to first of all to say that you know, your free speech and there's no constitutional entitlements. No, there's not constitutional entitlements, but last time I checked, there are federal laws guiding corporations to follow fiduciary duties of their bylaws and guidelines. Yeah, they are. I don't know if you know that. I know you're a professor and all that good stuff. A renowned professor in LA or in California, because you're so educated on the issues. Yeah, there are federal laws guiding corporations, which is why Jordan was about to sue y'all asses, and I don't even like Jordan. But you know that you can be sued if you break a law or break a bylaw in your own corporation. And especially if you damage someone else's business. Even nonprofits are held to this standard, which is why the number one way that nonprofits are held are sued by not upholding contractual agreements. But let's talk more about the algorithms and how nobody's facing any censorship. That like there's this group of left-leaning employees on Facebook trying to censor Republicans and give advantages to liberals. Who would think such a thing? I don't know. Maybe everybody, considering they literally gave data to Barack Obama's campaign and said, we're giving this to you because we're on your side. Bruh. They literally said it. They literally said it, people. They chose Barack Obama's campaign because they were on their side. They're parroting the Russia rhetoric because what? Because they're just so altruistic that they want to protect us. But meanwhile, y'all have been proven wrong time and time again. New York Times had to retract articles. CNN has had to retract articles and stories. ABC had to retract articles and stories based off of anonymous sources. And yet and still, I haven't had to retract one damn story. I'm pretty damn proud of that. Nor have my colleagues. And yet, we're dangerous. We're being censored. Our timelines are being suppressed. We're being demonetized across the board. And you're saying that demonetization isn't censorship, and that there is no censorship, and that we're not entitled to the money that we have earned according to the bylaws. Now, if you're going to tell us, okay, you're limited to these particular advertisers, and that's an entirely different situation. If you're limited to a particular advertiser, and you're going to have to give me a reason as to why, because then you're going to have to go through a whole other complicated process of talking about the fit for the advertiser, for the content, and then starting to limit the people and what they can and cannot push, because you're not reviewing every single video. YouTube, you're using bots, so you can't do that. And then speaking once again of algorithms, you know how easy it is to censor somebody? Hey, when this word gets pushed up, push it back down, make sure the video does not get seen, suppress it. You want to know how we know that? Remember how I used to love Bernie Sanders? Remember how they never let him trend? Remember how they would push up Hillary Clinton? Remember how Bernie Sanders was not allowed in the media? Or remember how Facebook would even go out of their way to punish groups? Close them for anything. People, the Brock bots would go inside of Facebook, start putting in child pornography that all of a sudden, by the way, disappeared right after elections. They said they want to start preferentially putting up family photos instead of politics. You don't get to dictate what we get to see, what we see. If they don't like what I'm posting, then they can unfriend me. What the hell? It's not complicated. But that's called censorship. It is just censorship with a nice little bow on top. They literally told us there would be censorship. They literally told us. They gave us a whole explanation for it. I just don't. Are you doing this on purpose? Are you being stupid on purpose? Or is it nefarious? What is it? This censorship is not new. You were there. But you know what? Think Progress. Hey, Think Progress. That's a reputable. Oh, no. What a surprise. Think Progress is actually owned by the Center for American Progress, which is actually owned by John Podesta. What a damn surprise. What a surprise, people. But let's quote Think Progress. That guy, they did some digging. What? I'm a great researcher, people. I can get into my outreach, but no, as talented as I am, I can't dig into Facebook's data and pull other people's data involuntarily without their consent and start doing a data analysis, which goes back to what I said earlier. Facebook is still giving our data out. Think Progress is neoliberal. It is establishment. And once again, I'm not a fan of the Koch brothers or any other of the major think tanks. But what I do have a problem with is that you tried to make the claim that they don't pick sides when once again, it's very clear that they do. So if you're going to attack somebody, if you're going to try to proclaim something, you did the same thing with Russiagate. Look what it's led to. Now everybody believes that anything contrast to the mainstream, it's fake news. It's a lie. Partially because of you. Congratulations. So now you're going to perpetuate the idea that there's no such thing as censorship when your own people have been censored and have been pretty open about it. You're getting dangerous. You need to stop. Not everybody's worth millions of dollars. Not everybody has $20 million, stash. I know, you're up to like 5 million. Anna, you worth a few million. Sorry. I hate to break this to y'all. But when it comes to like straight journalism, like actual honest journalism, not really a lot of money in that. You can ask the greats. And you damn sure don't get 20 million in endowments because you did well. You don't get 20 million after you do something in journalism if you did it the right way. Usually people are like, I gotta watch out for them. They might expose me, but we know damn well Young Turks ain't exposing nobody. But you can get all your news because we're exposing everybody here, including them. So thank you all so much for tuning into another episode. But hey, more than anything else, always remember, find your balance. especially you, TYT. Peace.